extremely well. If I see other technologies, WeChat is just like something that I never saw in my life. We don't even have WeChat in the US. So.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant.
But thank you again. Before I open the floor, may I, Lucy, you'd like to make some remarks? Then I open for questions and answers. Is it okay?
Yes, sure. First of all, it's my great pleasure to be here and to attend this forum. My name is Lucy Liu. I'm the Associate Dean for Global Engagement at Bournemouth University.
Excuse me, Dr. Liu, as our cameras are coming from here.
So do you want me to
come over here?
Yeah,
in the meantime, I introduce you.
Okay.
So, Dr. Lucy Liu, she is the Dean of the, let me see my talking points here, of the Global Engagement based in Bournemouth University. And she has more than 16 years of experience in global and higher education in management, and had several senior positions in academic and leadership at the international development roles at Newcastle University in Northumbria University. Lucy leads the Bournemouth University Innovation Hub, and which aims to address the dynamic global challenges and opportunities that industries and regions in China face in achieving sustainable growth. She holds visiting professorship in Henan University, Beijing International State Universities, and Tongji University in China. So Lucy, without further ado.
Thank you very much. Hello, colleagues and friends. It's my great pleasure to be in this forum and to have some discussions around the China's embracing innovation. My background is around innovation, and I have been doing my research on the triple helix model of innovation, which is analysing the innovation networks between university, government, and industry in the last 10 years. And my initial study, I actually worked with Professor Henry Exkowitz, who is the leader of triple helix, analysing the Silicon Valley's growth and to study how the less developed regions and become the more developed regions and how the knowledge is created within the region. So back to the China's embracing innovation, the whole concept and the growth. I mean, Professor Li Hua has been studying this theory, based on his more than 30 years experience both in the East and West. And I think in the last 2 years, obviously this theory has been paid quite a lot of attention by the Chinese government, by academics, and also with industry. Interestingly, there's quite a lot of queries about why do we need to understand this? Why do we need to understand China's embracing innovation, its growth, etc. And we have a lot of innovation definitions from economists, from technology, from academics, and why this particular innovation theory is that we need to pay attention to. I think in this theory that Professor Li addressed this is because in the 21st century, in the global context, that we are facing a lot of puzzles, we're facing a lot of uncertainties and questions from both politicians, the government, policy level, as well as from the industries. For instance, China's rising leads to a lot of Chinese companies acquiring Western firms and developing the manufacturing and making investment in the UK, in the US, for instance, in Canada. And then that's caused quite a lot of frustrations in terms of, what's going on there? A lot of investment in that, and do they really care about sustainability, development goals? Do they really care about the CRS? Do they really care about the environment, etc., etc.? They're full of uncertainties, I would say, the trust between the East and West. Secondly, I would say the similar puzzles also facing the Chinese firms when they are going global, in a sense that they don't quite understand, how they can use the experiences in China, in the Western world, in terms of developing the firms. They have the best, technology, they have the best wills to try to develop business, to collaborate in global context. But again, they are facing the similar challenges. So this is the first point. I think the second point I quite agree with Suez in terms of that why do we need to understand innovation is ultimately to address the global challenges, is to develop sustainable development goals. And that's eventually the goals. However, in the academic world, and I have to say I'm academics and in a university and still my PhD, but still, despite the whole changing globalization, the mindset in higher education, in academic mind, is still to a certain extent is less developed. So the subject or disciplines are still very isolated and they don't develop a joint thinking. Hence, innovation to a certain extent is understood is very naturally. For instance, when Professor Li Hua talked about China's embracing innovation, there were a lot of queries about, innovation is about technology, it's about developing the R&D, it's about the robot, the Googles, the WeChat, etc., and that's about innovation. So what's going on? You talk about innovation, we don't quite understand. So I think that just reflects the reality that the innovation at the concept is very naturally understood. But like we said, there's different level of innovation. We can talk about a firm level of innovation, the R&D, we can talk about industry level of innovation, the system, technology, capacities, we can talk about the national level of innovation, like the policy, the national innovation system, so on and so forth. But ultimately, what we are talking about here is a philosophic innovation. It's about the way of thinking in the 21st century. It's understand the way why China became the second largest economy, what's behind it, what are the 5,000 years of civilization, the histories, the values, the philosophers, the Confucius, etc., and all the people contribute to the way where China is. And just quite interesting questions. And I think we all think about globalization started from the United States because of the technology development, because the technology collapsed the world. We can all talk about the globalization. But nobody ever thinking about 2,000 years ago when China initiated the Silk Road, where the silk developed from China, linking the east and west through the trade. And that's where we started internationalization, through the Silk Road strategy. So globalization or internationalization is not something new. It's just the way we're thinking in the 21st century, which is really shaping our way of acting. So that's my second point about innovation. My last point, actually linking to my own professional career as academics, and also linking to Ramo's academic impact. I think as educators, as academics, what is our role in terms of shaping and impact the 21st century graduate and the students, the way of thinking in the way that they can really acting in industry. And in the university, and we developed a global talent program, for instance, the ultimate purpose is to training our graduates to be global mindset and to have a global heart set. And then they can use the global skill set to really contribute to the industry, contribute to the sustainable economic development. But without having a global mindset, which is really to embracing the differences between West and East, while actually maintaining commonality, and you can't really to use your technology to solve the global challenges, including the poverty or the sustainability issues. So that's what is making very significant of this theory. It's not really to guide you day-to-day technology or invention something. It's really that we really need to think about the 21st century. What are the important? It's a belief. It's a value. For instance, in the UK, our big challenges is to encourage more undergraduate students who were brought up in the white class families who never travel out of Europe, and to encourage them to see the world outside the West, to see what has been developed in the East. And similarly, if you think about, I think in this room I can see quite a lot of Chinese faces here, and obviously China is going abroad, going globally, embracing the West. But I can see increasingly the West also embracing East. So, when we have the East meet West embracing the contradiction, I think that we can really understand the significance of this theory, that China is embracing innovation. That's my little comments here. Thank you.
To share very fast what you're doing in terms of innovation and to support national change in this new era. I think it's very important what you said. We have to find a way to always promote better lives for the people. And I'm very inspired to hear the Silk Road, because it started 2 years ago, and now Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, is investing a lot in what they call One Belt, One Road initiative, which is basically through the largest development bank in the world, which is the China Development Bank. He's supporting through South-South cooperation, development transformation around the Silk Road line. So it's impressive that the East and West is connected, but the past and the future is also connected.
Yeah.
Before giving the floor to colleagues, I just have one question because, like you said, innovation is very important, and people say that we're now in the fourth industrial revolution. And in the age of automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, which it's brilliant, but what worries me, because I work in the development arena, is as we develop with new technology, what I am afraid of is more people will lose jobs because technology will take over some of the work. The rich will be richer and the poor will be poorer. So do you see through all your study the link between social, like Mr. Richard said, socio-economic environment? Do you see the link of innovation in your study, or is very much linked just to technology? Yeah.
These are the equally important social innovations. If I put it in this way, in the West, we clearly this is more focused on the technology innovation, which is brilliant and continues to take in and lead the world. And also the social innovations. It's important. If you don't have a social, without delivery of a stable the society, the social innovation clearly is a social problem. There is a very complex social problem, and the society is broken. What do you need? Actually, it is the social innovation. Some academic will say, well, this is government innovations. And that become important as well. And technology will solve a lot of problems, a lot of issues. In the meantime, social innovations. My theory here, you can hear, this is nearly 40 years. China is there with such a social innovations. So many people, how China did it. So this again comes to the point how China did it, and that's social innovations. So I believe that social innovation and technology innovations are important, but they should work together. If you simply focus on technology, and the society is broken, and that is a problem. And that will not enable the country or a region, or a university, and to deliver that, to develop the economy, and that is a problem. So, equally important. To some extent, the social innovation really is come to the point, to the superstructure, and at the strategic level.
Absolutely.
And the technology is a technological level, but technology, of course, the power of a state power, of course, technology. And the folks, technology, and that is important, of course important. But if you read it further, the philosophy of technology, and you come to what is technology, and the definition of technology, the technique, and it's knowledge. And it's the mobilization of knowledge, of the technique, and it's the product. When it comes to the end, it's the product. There's no product with no technology. So actually, knowledge is a key to control technology as a whole, and then come to the point of the superstructure. Again, come to social. So without, my point again, without delivering a social sustainability, there's no way you can have a flourishing economy.
Absolutely. And peace and
Yeah.
I think from my point of view, I'm more sort of academics, and the technologies is always developing, and we've all seen the first industrial revolution when the machine is developed, and the technology is always developing. There's always been uncertainty in terms of people losing jobs because of the development of technology. On the other hand, that we still have, the same amount of global challenges or problems still remain unresolved. So are we really arguing here that with development technology increasing, the problem challenges that we're facing actually decreasing? We certainly didn't see that trend at all. So what we're facing here is a gap of actually, there might be people losing jobs because of the technology developing, that perhaps it just is a skills, certain skills can be replaced by robot, by technology, but not necessarily the mind or the creativity or the innovation is replaced. I think what we're here is really to address is the importance of to really how to pull out this innovation, creativity from those people for them to really tackle the challenges, the global challenges that we are still haven't been resolved here. So I don't think that the losing job is because of technology is developing. It's actually how we're going to develop a solution to pull this creativity, innovation, and entrepreneur skills to really solve the global challenges.
Thank you very much. Sorry to dominate the discussion because it's so interesting. So let's open the floor for question and answers. So,
I have some questions from New Jersey.
Dean, sorry, is it okay if New Jersey starts?
Yeah.
We don't
Yes?
have,
You don't have
no questions.
No questions yet? So